My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And it's that time again. Y'all keep asking, so we keep delivering. That's right. We're going to talk about the shows that we're watching currently and what we think about them. That's it. It's time for What We're Watching, a monthly event with the Noonas. Good time.
Because we're always watching stuff, so you know.
That's true.
True.
That's true. So we now do the same ceremony that we do every time, where Jessie's phone informs us what order we will be going in.
Mhm.
So take it away.
Hey Siri,
Yes.
give
you
me
can.
a number between 1 and 4.
It's 4.
All right, Sky, you're
Okay.
first. Give me a number between 1 and 4.
The answer is 3.
Okay.
Oh, then me. Okay.
Give me a number between 1 and 4.
The answer is 2.
So we're just going in reverse order. Got it.
Okay.
Reverse age order. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Reverse age
Cool.
order. Sky, take it away.
For the record, the number thing, in case you're unaware of how we do run this, we go by age order since that's just something we've always done with kind of like a K-pop group type thing. So if anyone's ever curious, like why we're assigned numbers, that's what it is.
Yeah, how we figured out
Their
like who
age.
gets what
Yeah.
number.
Yeah. So, like that's why I'm 4. So I'm first. I have been watching a heck ton of stuff because for some reason that's just the mode I've been in. I see in my notes here that I did a really funny typo. Instead of Doom at your service, it's Coom at your service.
Okay.
Double O. It's not incorrect. I only watched a couple of episodes of that. I recorded recently with K-Bay, so we've all done episodes with them with that theme recently. So mine will be coming out here in a couple weeks or something. So I caught up. I didn't keep going after that because I was just distracted with all these other things I've been watching. But I enjoyed it. The episode I did, it was very family oriented. Like the theme was just very family, and it was a nice theme for that episode.
Did you get to talk about Kevin?
Uncle Kevin?
Uncle Kevin.
Uncle Kevin.
Yeah. I talked all about Uncle Kevin, the actor.
I think you mean the greatest member of this entire show.
Who gets like no
Kevin?
lines. Yeah, White Dude Kevin.
He shows up a couple times though.
Yes,
He's
he's an integral part of the show, Kevin.
Yeah, so we talked about Kevin a fair bit actually. So a show that I binged a big part of a couple weeks back was I caught up with Bulgasol a couple weeks ago. And I am current now again with it too. So as of this recording, there's 2 episodes left this weekend. I think. I hope they let me have that. That would be nice, even though the Olympics are on.
Yeah, it shouldn't do anything
never
to any
know.
of the
You never
Netflix
know.
ones though.
Okay. So it'll wrap up this weekend, but in this moment in time, there's 2 episodes left. Bulgasol is a show.
Yeah, it is.
It's a show.
It's a show.
You're correct, yeah.
And
It exists.
Lee Jun is really good in it.
He's incredible as always.
All the acting is very good. I will say that. That's well done. In my opinion, the story, it just keeps going in circles, again and again and again. To where you think you build up to something, like we're gonna accomplish maybe one aspect of all these things, right? You have a laundry list of things you need to accomplish. And you think you're gonna get maybe one of them. Nope. We're gonna go right back up, cycle back through. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing. So at that point I'm like, just give me more Lee Jun screen time because he's the fun part of and as we talked about in the Lee Jun episode, he's not always like scenery chewing or anything because his character is very multifaceted. That's why it's really fun to watch his character. It's a well done show. It's fine.
The special effects are really good on the show. Technically speaking, the show is excellent.
So I did a pretty decent binge. I don't remember how many episodes, but it was a fair bit over a couple days. And I was like, maybe it'll feel better when it's a binge. Maybe it was just feeling cyclical when I was watching every week or something. Yeah. No, it felt like that when I was binging it too, really. So I was like, okay, that's just the way this one goes. And so
I'm on
this
the fence
show,
on that one.
yeah, Bulgasol is what made me recently realize a weakness that I have. And between Bulgasol and Juri-san. Why these are the two shows that I kept with mostly while they were airing is beyond me. There are other shows that I actually like legitimately enjoy every single part of, and I'm like chomping at the bit for. But for some reason, I guess I get so excited about those, I put them to the side, and then I like don't touch them for a long time because they're like sacred or something. I'm not sure why I do this, but it's something I've noticed. But when it's a show that I'm not as emotionally tied to, but I'm just curious about, and I really want to know what on earth are they going to do in these last 2 episodes or something, for some reason that keeps me hooked.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's fine. It's just, I realize that to where I'm like, I need to maybe for myself, my time use, prioritize the things I enjoy a little bit more and at least re-pick them up more often, because that's kind of sad. Like the fact that I haven't finished Taxi Driver is ridiculous. Why am I binging a show that I don't love? And why haven't I finished a show that I actually
You could just
really
like,
did enjoy?
drop
like,
Bulgasol and read the like spoilers again,
Right,
and
yeah.
move on with your life.
Like that's what I should do. I'm not saying it's like a New Year's resolution at this point, but I realized that knowing is half the battle or more, right? So we will see if I do better. Reset is a Chinese drama. It is on Viki. It might also be on iQIYI, if I remember right. It is a time travel drama.
Ooh, fun.
Time loop drama. Let me be more specific. Time loop, so Groundhog's Day essentially, but not as funny. I am only 2 episodes in, so I can't say a ton about it, but I've heard really good things.
Yeah, me too.
One of our listeners, Liliana, she recently mentioned that it's that she finished it and it carried twists and turns throughout. So that actually makes me really be willing to keep with it.
Yeah.
But the main actor guy, he is from, there's going to be no way I'm going to remember the name of the C-drama. Whatever C-drama it was that I was obsessed with last year that involved the military. Like, she was a doctor. She was like a doctor, and he was like SWAT team type, and they would always it was always like rescue-y.
I feel like Annie is listening to us right now, screaming at her. She's telling you what it is right now.
But the thing is, if the C-dramas would actually have more unique names between them without having the word love for the 5 billionth time, if you remember them. Because at least Reset, I'm like, that makes sense. Time loop drama, like that suits me. So the dude from whatever that rescue show was that I really liked.
That You Are My Hero?
Yes. Okay. That it didn't even have love in it. I can't blame it. I'm sorry. That actually is a really good descriptive one.
Hero is pretty.
You just hear Natalia furiously Googling in the background, like,
because You Are My Hero could be so many C-drama rom-coms.
It's true. It's true.
It probably already is, right?
Yeah, probably.
But at least that one is to what those characters do. So that's good. That's helpful. So Reset, it is interesting. I'm just not far enough to have a huge opinion about it, other than I thought what I saw of the time loop, it was interesting. It was cool. So I will definitely keep with it just whenever I feel like it. I'm also watching a Thai show, Switch On. It is on Viki. It might be elsewhere, but I know it's on Viki. And it is a remake of W, the K-drama.
Oh, that's fun.
W, Two Worlds, the K-drama. So W, the whole crux of W is that there's a webtoon world that one of the main characters enters into and things like that. So Switch On does a video game instead. Aspects of it make that incredibly different. So the video game, it's still a very narrative-based video game. So, I mean, it's kind of still the same, entering into a story. There's aspects that are really different. I do want to say something that's in the first episode doesn't ruin anything. A lot of it's very blow by blow of W on some level. Tonally, it's totally different. It is lighter. It is a lot lighter than W. I actually really prefer W's darkness when it chose to be dark. I'm not done with it. I'm probably half done, but tonally it feels lighter, just the way they handle things. So in W, the main fictional character is a Olympic gun shooter person. And that's a big crux of like his story and stuff. And Switch On, it's pretty early introduced that so is this Switch On fictional character in his video game story. but they make it to where he's like really crappy at it. So he's like a professional marksman, but he can't hit a bullseye, and he's like really bad. I was so confused by this. They ran with it a little, and then they kind of dropped it. It kind of didn't end up being a huge part of what was going on anyway.
Maybe if it's a video game, because he hasn't leveled up yet.
But like, if someone wants to correct me, it's totally cool. But as far as what I understood, it was like he was really crappy at it, and he might have gotten better later on, but they never showed him being better. And he wasn't like an Olympian or anything. But he was on the national team somehow. But he sure seemed like he wasn't as involved with it. It was just funny that they kept that aspect when it doesn't seem like they really wanted to. It was just a very funny part to me. Like, why did you keep it? Because they had a scene that showed him like being really bad at it. And I was like, I don't really understand why we're doing this. So that's just an aspect of like kind of funny. There's an actor in that show that maybe he's American or European or something. Definitely white dude, but he can speak Thai like no one's beeswax, as far as I can tell.
That's very common in Thai dramas, because there are a lot of German, especially German men who moved to Thailand and married Thai women. So
because he was like the main business partner, blah blah blah. So you see him a lot. So I really enjoy Switch On, but I'm only like halfway through it. I finished Tinted with You, yay! Which is the super short BL K-drama web series that Ace's June is in. It's really cute.
Finished that one.
There's not much to say about it without like spoiling things, but
no, it's very short, so it really like we'll say two things and then we're
and
I will say most of it's a historical. That's all we can really say. But like the costumes and stuff were like it was all pretty good for like a web drama. I thought
got like a hint of Splash Splash Love or whatever it's called with our girl.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think I had watched just the first 2 episodes, and then I was like, I'm going to pick that up when it's done. Super, super short episodes. I really do recommend just binging those if you can.
Yeah, make it a movie instead of a waiting like I did. Or
I usually wait with those Vicky ones because they always release it as a movie version later. So I usually wait and just watch that rather than every 3 minutes. It's like, oh, next episode. Like.
And then going through the theme song like the 7th time. Which
exactly.
When your episode is maybe less than 10 minutes, sometimes it's like wow, that theme song's really long there.
Can I hurry this up? Should we?
A little like get with it now. Like, we don't need this.
I did watch another BL series, but I did watch the movie version of it. I watched it on Netflix, but I think it's on Viki as well. Wish You, and then the subtitle is like Your Melody from the Heart.
Yeah.
I watched the movie version over on Netflix. I liked the movie version. It felt very, very, very seamless, and it was great. But it was cute. It was about musicians. I don't want to ruin anything else about it, but it was about musicians. It was very subtle. I enjoyed how subtle and well acted it was, and the music was pretty good. So those are my little web dramas, I think, that I watched. I randomly decided to pick up the J-drama Incurable Case of Love or Love Lasts Forever, whichever you want to call it. There's also a Japanese title for it. It is the one that's about essentially a very tsundere doctor and a nurse.
Plucky, hardworking nurse.
And a doctor who is kind of a jerk in the beginning.
He's a bit of a dick.
Yep. So it was really cute. It's one of those things with if you saw that relationship in real life, you'd be like, I would have some concerns, but this is fiction, so I don't have to sit here and worry about it.
It's true.
It's one of those rom-coms. Because to me, rom-coms kind of fall in 2 aspects, in my opinion, with that. There's the ones that are like, oh, this actually feels realistic, and like it's a nice portrayal of what you would hope a relationship would be, or a healthy relationship.
You're like, that could be a happy ever after.
Right.
But a lot of times you're like, do we actually happy ever after, even though you say it is right now?
This feels like a happy for now, because I don't see you together a year from now.
Right. Well, so this one, I really did enjoy it, but even an aspect is like, they met when she was in high school and he was already a doctor.
Yeah,
Oh.
her senior year of high school, or
But it was not a romantic thing at all. It was a CPR
Yeah.
type situation. Not with them, with somebody else. But she like fell in love with pretty much the idea of becoming a nurse or something. But like that interaction is what inspired her. But she pretty much became a nurse to meet him again. So there's aspects like it's the type of drama that you go, I really hope no one makes actual life choices like this, because that's really a bad plan. Don't do that.
yeah.
But it was cute. Then he ended up, of course, not being a jerk forever. So that's always kind of a crux for me. If someone is a jerk the whole time, I'm like, I'm not going to finish this show. I can't handle those.
Because if it's just like they change in the last like 2 episodes or something, you're like,
Nobody can change that fast.
No,
Sorry.
exactly.
And I guess I did like he was a slow thaw. It all came from grief, and they would they got into all of it, which is a good thing. And then she essentially had to grow up too, like just within her job and stuff. So there was development on both sides, which is always a plus. Now, I will say about this show, there's a separate series that is like a sequel or side stories to this show. So I got to talk about these side stories for a second. Have you watched it, Natalia?
No, I haven't seen the side stories. I only watched the main bit.
I got to tell you the bit about this side story thing. What is cool about it is it kind of shows a little bit more of like the side characters and stuff, and they're very short, but they introduce a whole new supernatural element to it, kind of within the actual show. There's this moment. Yeah. There's this moment that she goes and visits a temple that has a lucky cat, and then she ends up getting a tiny lucky cat, fortune cat thing that she sometimes talks to. Okay. You remember that in the main show, Natalia, at all? In the side stories, they take that little thing and they blow it up to where there's this new character and actually, I guess the actor was in the main show twice as a waiter. And then at the very end, he ends up popping up as a nurse.
But as different characters?
Well,
or
so
are
like,
you supposed to think that the waiter is the nurse?
I think you're supposed to recognize him, because at the very end, it goes, like, I just wanted to join you guys or something. I'm like, he doesn't look familiar. So I went and looked on his MDL, and I'm like, so he was a waiter or something. He's this cutie with kind of like curly-ish hair. It's like, I would have recognized him if he was around more. You were supposed to remember that he existed at some point. So I'm like, did I space on that? So anyway, for the side stories, they at first have like a really cozy little bar eatery thing that he runs. But what they show it as is they first always show the little a largest statue of a lucky fortune cat thing. A character will pass by, they make the statue turn a little bit, and then all of a sudden they cut to this dude. So he's like the lucky cat relationship advice god.
Okay.
Sure.
It's really
All right.
Okay.
But that's not the best part of it. So all the other characters are the hospital characters that you see in the main show. And it's the exact same love lines and stuff that you just get a little bit more on. So he's like, do you want your like relationship fortune told? And he's not like, I'm a god, but he's just saying like, I tell fortunes. Do you want one? They didn't see him change from the cat thing. They just think he's a normal waiter. And they're like, sure, whatever. In order for him to tell the fortune, though, all of a sudden he breaks into a song and dance involving like cat paw, wrist, bald fist thing. Like, that's why this is really hard to explain. So every time before he tells a fortune, he does this elaborate dance, the exact same dance to the exact same song. So each side story episode is a different person that he's telling their fortune, and therefore you see a different aspect of all these stories. So you have this little bar for like a few of the side story episodes. Then for some reason, a few episodes in, it changes to like a fancy bar, like a really expensive looking bar. And then he's like more of a bartender there with like the whole get up and stuff. But sure enough, he's still doing his weird little dance. And so some of the characters, whenever he starts this dance, they're like, what are you doing? Like, this is super weird. They'll get like super embarrassed, or sometimes other servers will like get involved in his dance too. It is the weirdest thing. It ends up becoming such a part of these tiny little episodes that, I mean, he takes up more time than the love lines.
Actual characters that you're
and it doesn't make
invested
any
in from
sense.
the show.
It doesn't make any sense why they did this. I don't know. And I'm sorry that I've taken so much time to talk about it, but it's just really odd.
Listen, sometimes things are just so mystifying that you can't help but like, you're like, listen, it sounds like a fever dream that
I guess one other side thing, there was one of those side episodes. They also showed him in the past, like with historical get up and stuff too.
Might as well.
Might as well.
If you're already got him doing mystical dances, like
I mean, sure.
Oh, actually, I forgot. So when he tells the fortune, he does the dance, and at the very end of the dance, he does this like yell, this meowing yell thing, and the camera zooms in on him, and all of a sudden he disappears, and then he appears behind them doing like the calligraphy vertical fortune on an official paper thing, and then he shows them the fortune. Each time he will appear behind them, and they're always like, where did he go? It's the weirdest thing. Just saying.
you just never know with J dramas. I'm gonna be real.
It's
very true.
It's so true.
They do wild shit.
But I kind of appreciate, like, let's say that you didn't like that. You weren't into the weird Catman dancing thing. You don't have to. It's a side story thing. You can totally ignore the existence of that stuff. You already have your entire show, so it's fine. Then, for some reason, I was using the K-drama Hyena GIFs on Twitter. And so then I was like, I really want to rewatch Hyena, but I really don't want to go through all of it. This is the one time I've gone through and like pretty much OTP scenes. I'm going to watch every scene that the main two characters are in, or any scene that I know was fun.
Exactly.
It was fun. It took me actually a very long time to watch that version of the show. There was a lot to watch, but there's so much politics and lawyer stuff in that show that like, another reason I did that is since then I have learned that one of the main other actors, he's a really awful person, like pedophile level of awful, and he's just in so many shows. Like he's even in Sense8 and stuff. I mean,
that's unfortunate.
Freaking dude is inescapable. And he's like he takes up a lot of screen time in Hyena to where he's usually the boring scenes anyway. To where I'm like, I don't need to give him any time. Like skipping all of it, just him is a lot of the show.
Tap that side of your screen. Just keep tapping. Just keep tapping. Tap.
Hyena is such a strange show, really, as far as very serious lawyer things, which are sometimes criminal level. One time they deal with the cult. A lot of times with businesses doesn't really make sense. And even the silly and the serious of the relationship aspect is very interesting. But like, it's really fun. So that's why I wanted to watch it. And it was fun again. So then I was in a rewatching mood and I decided to find the first Asian drama I ever watched 4 years ago. Because I'm coming up, I think pretty much February was when I started randomly watching Taiwanese dramas on Netflix 4 years ago. I think Murphy's Law of Love was the very first one I watched. And so it used to be on Netflix. It's not on Netflix anymore. Sorry, everybody. A lot of the Taiwanese shows from that era are not on there anymore. There are a few that still are, but I really realized I'm like, wow, a lot of them got yanked. Like,
and it feels like that used to be almost all there was. Like, if you were into Asian dramas on Netflix, it was a lot of Taiwanese stuff. And
plus like Boys Over Flowers and Heirs. Like there's not much Korean at the time.
Now I wonder if this has to do with the fact that they're getting more mainland Chinese stuff, and so they had to like compromise, because China. Well, listen, I don't know for sure, but that would make sense.
It probably also is just like there was a bunch of stuff that had already been there for like for a while, and it was their contract period for their licensing, and it just because they do have some airing stuff, Taiwanese stuff sometimes, so maybe they're kind of focusing on that, or I don't know.
There used to be a handful of Taiwanese dramas, older ones that I hadn't even watched, but you know how their genre tags aren't great anyway. It doesn't catch everything. But I even started going, I was like, okay, where did all the Aaron Yan, like where did all his stuff go? It's mostly gone. There's only one of the George Hugh dramas left. Like, and so there are even other ones I used to see all the time. I was like, is romance still there? No. Like, I mean, just on down the list of stuff that I remember being there. So it's mostly over on Viki. I think a lot of them are probably even free on Viki. 3 were on my mind that I wanted to see. I wanted to see Murphy's Law of Love. The reason I wanted to rewatch it, I really, really enjoyed it when I watched it the first go around. But I wondered if it was because it was just my first Asian drama that I was so charmed by it. And I wondered if maybe there were more problematic aspects and I know more about things now and I'm more aware of things to where I wanted to see, does this still hold up? Would I really want to recommend it to somebody? Or is it really just like in my mind, it was fun? So
nostalgia sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. And I blew through that so quick and it was so fun. Oh my gosh. But here is the thing about it. It doesn't really have any problems. But there's a big part of the show, just like I was saying earlier about rom-coms for me. To me, there's 2 different types of rom-coms. Rom-coms that seem like, oh, this is actually a charming couple. They would maybe be in a halfway healthy relationship in real life if they were real people. And then there's the, I have concerns.
Yeah, like this is fun escapism, but this ain't.
I'm a concerned parent right now.
This isn't a blueprint for successful relationships.
So Murphy's Law of Love is a really good example for me of if you are going in with your brain turned on, it's not that you have like huge awful concerns. You can even be kind of charmed with it for a big part of the show. But what's nice about it is the female character, she's a psychologist. And she does work at a matchmaking agency for quite a bit of the show. She was a psychologist to begin with at a hospital, and she went through a breakup, and then she realized that she wanted to learn about love and relationships, and then she wanted to help people to kind of heal herself, essentially. And then the guy is like a tsundere dude that runs right across the street a divorce agency that helps people throw parties when they're having a divorce. So
okay.
The thing I want to say about it,
I like this setup though. I have to admit.
I love it. I love it.
Setup,
so, and though it's charming, you definitely have concerns. Like there keep on being issues to the point where like this isn't a sustainable relationship. You think that as the viewer, right? And spoiler, she eventually says that too because she has a brain. Like she eventually realizes I'm too involved and this is not healthy. My doctor's side says shouldn't, like, I love you, but this is not a thing. And so then they have a few episodes of like, they really did legitimately break up and they were not planning on getting back together, but then they did develop as people and eventually they get back together again. But
this isn't a spoiler, it's a rom-com. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, how these things work.
So the reason I even say all that though is like, it was a very self-aware drama in the end, right? To where it showed issues. It didn't just keep on with those issues and put them under a rug. It was like, no, this isn't okay. I didn't remember any of that. I remembered 3/4 of the show really well. Even certain events they threw, like the matchmaking agency would have cute little parties doing things. I was like, I remembered all that stuff. But then I had totally forgotten the like really legitimately good part at the end of things. So fun show. It's on Viki if you're into that type of thing. If you get into liking that actor, you are not going to find a ton of stuff on him. So then the 2 other dramas that I wanted to pick up were going to be Fabulous Boys and You're Beautiful is what I wanted to watch. So Fabulous Boys is the Taiwanese remake of the K-drama You're Beautiful. Fabulous Boys no longer exists on any legal platforms. I am crying. That was like my thing. So You're Beautiful, my experience with it is I had watched Fabulous Boys first, the entirety of it, and then You're Beautiful whenever it was the first thing I tried K-drama side 4 years ago. And so I only watched a little bit of it because it felt like a blow-by-blow reshoot. When I was just getting into K-dramas, I was like, I'm not going to spend all my time rewatching the exact same show that I just finished.
Sure.
So now I'm watching the entirety of You're Beautiful, which is a trip. Let me tell you what.
Trip to the past.
It really is. It really is a trip to the past. And it makes me realize my taste in fashion is very dated. And it makes you realize, like, I like some of these clothes. That's a problem, probably. But
Listen, that suit was dapper and we all know it.
It's only a problem because most of them are probably really expensive. It doesn't matter if they're outdated.
It just made me realize I was like, I really like those back in the day band outfits that they used to wear. I was into that stuff. They talked about pogs, and I was losing my mind about that a lot. There's this whole like little story about pogs and how they're on pogs, and it's like this thing, and it just cracked me up so much. But yeah, really fun. Really having a really good time with that. I'm still watching it. It's not an objectively good show, which is fine.
That's okay.
It's a charming show.
Listen,
I'm not.
You don't have to watch things that are just all good.
No,
or it's true.
Something you absolutely love. You can have mediocre watches and be fine.
So it is the type of rom-com that is squarely in the I have concerns department.
Yeah. And as long as you understand that,
yes,
you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
There's a lot to say there, but I've taken up way too much time already. So that is what I'm currently watching.
Okay, so it's me, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but my extensive watch of Young Lady and Gentleman continues. We are in the 30s of the episode, which means we're in the later half of this series.
Full steam ahead.
It's turned into a parody at this point because the extent of horror that people have that a 27-year-old and a 40-year-old are dating is laughable at this point. They're acting like she's dating a serial rapist, not a slightly older single father. Like I can't. It's so over the top, but like I can't.
Especially when you know the ages of all actors in every other
like,
drama
they're
ever. You obviously don't care about it.
Like it's like there's like this point where like the father, who you clearly know was like the daughter's age when he had her, is like, oh, she's so young, she can't be a stepmother, and you're just like, you were a single father at her. You know what? Anyway, it's fine. I'm just like, I'm moving on, but like, I can't stop with this show. I can't stop. It's like, it's fucking crack. I can't get out of it. Ugh, moving on. That's all I'm gonna say about Young Lady and Gentleman. But it's been like, what? We're now on like the fourth, like what we're watching that I've still been watching this show. Okay. So back when it first started airing, I started watching Bad and Crazy, and then I just stopped after the first episode. We're actually halfway through the first episode because like I was just like wasn't in the mood. But I picked it back up, and the second half of the show is real good. So I've been really enjoying it. I'm on like episode 10 right now, and
so you're like at the end, right? It's only 12 episodes.
Yeah, I'm almost done. So I'm like really into it. So I've really been enjoying it. I think the acting is fantastic. It's a weird show. Like I will be honest, like it's basically like, what if this police procedural was unhinged in every possible way? And I'm kind of into it. So I'm really enjoying that. I also picked up and watched the entirety of a 10-episode rom-com on Cocoa called Please Don't Date Him. But the actual title of this show should be Dating Straight Men is a Fucking Landmine Field. Because it's like that's literally like just there's like one nice guy in the whole thing. And it's just like this all happens in the first episode, so I'm not gonna like this is literally the synopsis. This girl is like a software engineer for trying to make a smart fridge, and due to shenanigans, because it's always shenanigans, accidentally a like intelligence grade chip is like installed on this smart fridge. And suddenly this smart fridge, what it was supposed to do was that if you say like a little bit about yourself and what you ate, it would tell you like, here's a suggestion for what you should eat, but instead starts accessing everyone's personal information and telling her like all of this stuff about people that she shouldn't know. So she then finds out that her fiance, they're like a month away from getting married, has been sharing intimate photos of her with his like bros, had installed like a safety camera, but had been accessing all the like the footage and like sharing it. So she's like, don't not on my watch. So she like dumps him, rightfully.
Good.
But then she meets a bit of a technophobic firefighter
repairman.
A firefighter who doesn't have any online presence. So like the fridge cannot help her.
She's gonna have to do it on her own.
He's a good guy. Anyway, it's like
I've seen the first like 2 episodes of that. It feels like a Black Mirror episode a little
like
bit.
It's
it really
the show. I really enjoyed it. I have to say, like the show, I really enjoyed it. It gets a lot darker than like you would expect from the premise. Like shit goes down in this show. Like it's really fun. It has the guy playing the firefighter was the dude from the show Imitation. He used to be in a very small group that I believe is disbanded, but
the award-winning Idol show Imitation.
Yeah, it was fun. Like it was a fun show and it was well acted, and it was like the ending was a little like cheesy. Okay, the show was cheesy, I'm gonna say it, but like fun cheesy, like really inoffensively cheesy. And luckily this wasn't one of those where you're like, wow, this relationship would fail in real life. Like at the end you're like, yeah, I think they'd survive. It also has like 2 of her best friends, like their relationships, who knows, like I'm not gonna make any judgments.
She shook her head, audience. She shook her head.
But it was fun. It was really fun, very silly. I started watching the new Vampire BL K-drama.
Oh yeah, Kissable Lips,
which I tried to watch episode 2. So I saw episode 1. It's so cheesy. Like it's so, you're just like, okay, I see what we're watching here. Like, and I tried to watch episode 2, which is 11 minutes long, but it is still not fully subbed.
Dun, dun, dun.
So le shock, le gasp. Also on Viki, I watched 2 J dramas. Rinko-san Wants to Try. Very cute, very spicy. Loved it. It was delightful. Then I started this other one called Can't Run Away from Love. Now I don't know why these choices were made, but the pacing on this show is incomprehensibly bad. Like you're just like, what is this timeline? Like what are these events happening? Also, the guy is awful. Like
it's like maybe you should run away from love.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
maybe run away from
you
this
can't,
love.
but
Like,
sometimes you should.
Yeah, like, and I'm just like, oh my sweet.
Maybe you should get a restraining order from.
Don't be afraid to run away.
Like it's just, it's not like, you know, he's not like abusive or anything, but he's just like kind of a dick. Just like, I'm like, yeah, he's cute, but he ain't that cute. You know what I mean? Like he's not forgivably cute. I have also been rewatching a few things. Because I've been sick, and when you're sick, you like rewatching things sometimes. When you're me,
It's true.
So I've been rewatching Until We Meet Again because they just recently added it onto Viki. So now I don't have to watch it in every episode being 4 parts, which is very nice.
Helps.
Because on YouTube, that's how it's made. It's still as delightful as the first 30 times I watched it. Jess, absolutely sweet, but if you have never seen it, there is a suicide trigger warning, and this isn't a spoiler because it happens in the first 30 seconds of the show, so be warned about that. But it's a very good reincarnation, true love, yada yada, very nice. I've also rewatched, okay, this, I have to admit, this is like one of my favorite rom-com K-dramas, but I can't
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Okay.
I really thought it starts with a TH.
No. So I rewatched, this is one of my favorite rom-com K-dramas, but I'm not gonna like say it's good. I don't know what about it is so charming to me personally, but I find it excessively charming. I think because I kind of really relate with the female main character in a terrible way that I'm not going to get into now because that's my own problems. But I've been rewatching Beautiful Gongshim, or My Fair Lady Gongshim, which I love. It's Namgung Min at his most unhinged that you've ever seen. Like, you thought he was unhinged in like Chief Kim. No, that was just a warm up for how ridiculous of a human he's going to be in this. He plays like a semi-homeless lawyer who's just sort of like a local layabout who's also just a low-cost lawyer and who wants to rent a rooftop room from a unemployed girl who is sort of like treated like shit by her family because her older sister is better than her in every single way, and it's to the point that she's so stressed that her hair is falling out, so she has to wear a wig. I know this sounds really depressing, but it's actually quite funny and charming, but very not, you're not watching this show because you want some hard-hitting
life truth.
Like it's one step away from a soap opera mixed with a sitcom. Like, that's what you're gonna get. I also watched All of Us Are Dead, but I'm not gonna talk about that because
we may have like a spoiler episode coming later on this week.
And for my final two things, I continue to watch it's on YouTube, Not Me, which is so good. Like, the first two episodes did not actually prepare me for how good this show is going to be. It's taken on like a wild turn. It's about basically a group of college students who are literal social justice warriors. Like, they're out there trying to take down this, corrupt dude's enterprise. But one of them is impersonating his twin brother, who is in a coma because he's trying to figure out what happened to his twin brother.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's really good. And then finally, I have kept up with the absolutely fashion-forward F4 Thailand. Now, if you haven't started F4 Thailand, it's a remake of Boys Over Flowers, and if you remember, Lee Min-ho's character in Boys Over Flowers had questionable fashion.
It is not questionable fashion. It
is high fashion, okay?
High fashion. You remember like the fur, everything. The main guy character on this show, fashion is on acid. Like, we're talking like a tiger print fur coat mixed with a leopard print, like oversized Hawaiian shirt, tucked into pleated khakis with diamond studded like shoes and a fanny pack. And then we're like, yeah, this guy is like, this
wealthy,
is like, rich, young, like rich 18-year-olds dress like it is. I know I should talk about other things. It's actually it's a very enjoyable version of this same story that everyone has made every country has made a version of. Literally every country. But it just, every time I watch a new episode, I'm just like, who is coming up with these outfits? Like, there's even in the last episode, there was like a whole thing where he's like stressfully picking out the perfect outfit. And then he just shows up in the most violently offensive outfit you've ever seen. Like, that's him like working hard at his fashion. Like, and his three friends are so fashionable.
He's just doing what he's doing.
Listen, he's living his own life, and kudos for that. It's the show is surprisingly charming, and it really shouldn't be, because it just shouldn't be, but like it is.
I put it off purely because it only airs the one episode a week, so it's not until like April we're finishing it. So it's like, why hold off? Then I can watch a couple episodes a week and then like hit it when it's done.
Like, it's literally the same story that it always is. Yeah. Like, they don't, like, they've made some changes to like bring it to the modern age, and it like those changes really work, but it's like,
it's not even like Boys Over Flowers is that old. Like it's
I know,
old,
but like things have changed in the 10 years since Boys Over Flowers came out technologically and
I
such.
know, but it just we don't need to be reminded of 10 years.
True.
Back in the day.
It is charming. Like
Mm-hmm.
I find like the female lead is very fun, very good. In the last episode, they had the Boys Over Flowers plot where they go on a double date with her friend and her friend's douchey boyfriend. And they pulled out poor Gunsmile again.
Oh,
Like, the douchey boyfriend once more. He can't escape. He always gets dragged into this. Like, listen, he always plays the douchey dude, whether gay or straight, don't matter. He's gonna show up and say douchey or dumbass things.
Or he's the gangster. Like,
yeah,
he has to.
Does he have a gangster face or something?
No, he doesn't. He looks like a totally normal dude.
He's got a big face. Like, he's kind of he's a bigger
just
guy.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
But
And it's funny because if you like watch any of his socials, he's like the biggest puff of sugar. He's just sweet and soft, and you're like, why? Just give him my rom-com. Let him be a lead, for crying out loud. He's adorable. But
and in very brief other Thai entertainment news this morning, our favorite Thai Australian man Perth posted a video of him trying Mexican snacks on YouTube, and it's as sweet and delightful as you would expect it is, until he eats salted plums, and then his whole life collapses. And he's like,
baby,
to me, he'll be in Kin Porsche coming soon.
Yeah,
coming soon.
Actually,
soon.
Coming in April.
Okay.
Jessie, what have you been watching?
So I haven't been watching a ton of Asian content. I started to because I was preparing for the June episode. So if you want to hear my thoughts on Heard It Through the Grapevine, which I thought was great, it's there. But then I kind of have slowly kind of drifted away and have been watching other things. But other things that I watched, we already talked about Tinted with You. I thought it was fine. I mean, what can you do with 60 minutes of time? It's just a short little thing.
Right.
And then of course All of Us Are Dead. Spoiler alert, I liked it. So we'll talk more about it later on in the week. And then
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I did end up watching the J-drama The Journalist, which is on Netflix. It was one of the things that they were picking up for a Netflix produced, I guess, thing. It dropped all of its episodes on the day it came out. So it's about corruption and a journalist who is trying to find out the story. But it's got this really great focus on humanity, because a lot of things kind of happen because of the cover up, and it focuses kind of more on the lower people who are forced to do things to help the higher ups cover up and their moral dilemmas in a very realistic way. Moral dilemmas. The corruption was heavy in that it was the central plot of the story, but it was more of it was just always there in the background, and everything else was about the stories of the people there, and the journalists aren't heightened just trying to find the scoop type thing. It's very human and real, and I really enjoyed it. It is based on a movie, or at least sort of based on a movie. I don't know how close they are in terms of what they do, but it's kind of the same storyline. But I highly enjoyed it, so I recommend it if you can watch it on Netflix. I think it's really good. Some other things that I started watching, I decided to do this thing, which I was going to do it monthly, but now that I haven't finished it, it's kind of monthly thing.
Somewhat.
It's a month-ish where I watch a drama that I've had on my list for a really long time. I have a good couple of dramas that I've wanted to watch, and they're at the top of my list, but I always favor something current or something for the podcast or whatever. And it gets pushed aside. So I'm trying to focus on those. And so the first one that I picked was the K-drama version of mother. It is the remake of the Japanese one. I think the Japanese one is first.
I think so, yeah.
I think they're also like pretty close in the similar story. It is about a teacher who kind of befriends a student who you find out has been abused by her mom and her mom's boyfriend, and the teacher decides to kidnap the kid to get her away from the situation. And it's kind of about the journey they go on and that sort of thing. It's really heavy, but also really good. I'm about halfway through it. I don't want to give like too much away, but it, it has more about like the lives of the other characters and kind of like some of the things that were happening with the relationship of the real mother and that sort of thing. But it's very, very good. If you are looking for something like that, I am watching on Viki. I think it's the Viki and Cocoa. I can't remember. They might be on both of them, but it's easy to find. I really want to watch Vampire Detective. I can't. I've tried since we posted the June episode. I've tried multiple times. So I'm keeping it on my list because I want to watch it. We'll see. It's a thing. I started a Japanese drama called Deep Crime Unit. It's kind of like a sort of procedural. It's airing right now, so I've only watched the first 2 episodes. It is about a crime unit that focuses on, obviously, like the sea. They're like an ocean unit. They're kind of like, I guess, potentially like Coast Guard, but not. I think Japan has a Coast Guard, but they're like a step higher in terms of team. Like they talk about how it's like a very small group of people and they were trained by Navy SEALs, like US Navy SEALs. So they're kind of like more trained, and it's got that kind of classic procedural type vibe to it where, things happen and there's explosions and all that good stuff. I really haven't been watching. That's like it. I hope to start some of the stuff that I wanted to watch because I wanted to watch Through the Darkness, and I was about to, and then I found out they were taking a hiatus for the next couple of weeks because of the Olympics. So it's going to be another couple. I think right now it's 2 weeks before they start the other half of the show. So I'm going to take this time to kind of catch up on it and hopefully catch it when it starts airing again. And then there's a couple of other shows, but I've been mostly watching like other things and watching random things in the background like Bones, because that's what I do. Just watch random things.
For Through the Darkness, I saw that Kim Nam Gil on his YouTube channel, like he was going to be putting out content during the hiatus.
Oh.
They're not sure yet if it's going to be subbed in English. So like
that's how they get you.
Yeah.
But he's going to be, I don't know. I didn't go in deep since I'm not watching it, but like that seems to be a thing. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. I might check it out unless it's something that I shouldn't be watching, having not watched the episodes. It's based on a book that was written by, co-written. I think the guy wrote it with a Japanese profiler, but they're like the first Asian crime profilers, like respectively from Korea and Japan. And it's based on their work that they've done in the past in this book. So that's the character he's portraying in the show. It's the first crime profiler. So it's a crime thriller.
Cool.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Kim Nam Gil is like he has this I think it's a not-profit that he started called Gil Story, that he's all about like telling stories and stuff, and so that's why I think he's going to be having, I don't remember if it was interviews or what, but I think it's kind of about those profiler people.
He probably could. They're still around. I know there's a Netflix documentary. I think it's a kind of loose series that like Netflix is doing. I don't know if it's like considered an actual series, but they've been putting out a lot of like crime documentaries, and I think it's along the same like grouping, but they did it on the yellow raincoat killer or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And the profiler was on that case, so he's in that. They were interviewing him in that one. So
wow.
Yeah, he's still around and accessible, so I could see them putting up stuff. It'd be cool if they did.
Yeah.
Or he did.
I also haven't been watching a whole lot. I kind of hit the end of the year and went, I haven't finished these dramas, and they're really good dramas, like things like F4 and Idol, the Coop, stuff that I'm enjoying. I am legitimately enjoying. Could not press play on any of them. So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to put everything in the hold list, and maybe we'll revisit this later. And I started new things, looked for new things to start. I randomly opened Aishii last night and realized that I was halfway through this Chinese movie, and I was like, oh, maybe I should finish that. I started it back up and I was like, oh, there's a reason why I not finished this. It's so bad. It doesn't exist anywhere on the internet. It's called Racer of Life. It's about motorcycle racing. And I was like, all right, motorcycle racing. I'm trying to look at this thing up. It's nowhere. Kaiser Sose of like movies. It does not exist. Like, it's not on MDL. It's not on Asian Wiki. It's nowhere. I tried like reverse looking it up because Aishii has like the actors listed, right? I looked them up. They got nothing like this, like listed anywhere. And I'm like, all right. And then, you know, you're watching it and you're like, oh, okay. It's sort of not good. There's a lot going on, and it's not told particularly well, and it's jumps
not good.
a lot. Like the basic premise is this guy was raised in Japan by his mom, and she was a motorcycle enthusiast and racer, and he also races motorcycles. And then she dies in an accident, and he basically collapses from grief. And then this sister that he didn't know existed comes by and says, I'm your sister. Your dad's back in China. He wants to see you. You know, you're an orphan now. He's like 30, but you know, you're an orphan now. So come see dad because it's important to him. He, for some reason, I don't know if he doesn't have his, I don't know what the reasoning is. He sneaks back into China, like he hides on a Fisher trolley or something and sneaks into China to go find his dad, but then finds some random mechanic guy, and they decide that he's going to live his mother's dream of this crazy race through the mountains that, you know, you're probably gonna die, but sure, whatever,
why
right?
not?
And then a random girl shows up and she's also good, and it's very much like somebody watched Fast and the Furious, but like maybe watched like 3 or 4 Fast and the Furious movies without subtitles, like they didn't know what's going on, and they said, yes, that's what we should do, and then cut it together like it was a music video, so like it doesn't, you know, like actually
edited like a music video.
Maybe there's a reason why no one can go, it's not on the web anywhere else.
So this whole thing with the daughter coming to visit him while he was in a coma or whatever is because she wanted to get him back in China because she's running the crime syndicate now because she murdered dad. And like, and she's like, wants him to come back so that she can kill him so she can just keep everything, right? Because there's nobody else, then it's just her. But then like halfway through, a legitimate half sister shows up, and she's like, she's
it
not
sounds
really
like
our
a soap
sister.
opera.
Right?
It's so bizarre.
This is a movie, not a show.
It's a movie, and there's like cramming all this, and it's not even a long movie, and it's all crammed in, and you're like, what is going on?
What was the thing that made you put it to the side?
Honestly, it was the first time that I stopped. I just stopped, like I had to make dinner or something, so I just
stop.
put it on
Just
pause and forgot about it, right? I was like, oh, maybe I should finish this, and then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. So it was.
I shouldn't.
I mean, it was.
Walk away now.
It got to the big race, but there's still like half an hour left, and I don't know what we're doing.
When something like that doesn't exist like anywhere else, no one else is talking about it like on MDL or something, it really makes you be like, am I Am I dreaming? Am I alive? What is going on?
I literally just looked it up on my phone again, checked Aishi again, and it's still there because I was like literally, maybe this is a fever dream. Maybe
it sounds like it.
Maybe it's a COVID symptom. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, if you see it and you think, hey, this looks cool, it's not. Don't
do it. Just walk away.
I took that bullet. You don't have to. So
just say no. Just say no, kids.
Because yeah. So on things that were better than that, I have one holdover from last year that I think it was last year. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it started in January. I don't know. Anyway, I'm watching Ghost Doctor with Rain and Kimbam.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying it. I haven't watched this week's episodes yet, but it's just good. It's very classic K-drama shenanigans going on. Rain plays an absolute, dick of a good surgeon. He's the best cardiothoracic surgeon, so of course he also has to be a horrible, rude human being. He does it very well. He's doing a great job. He's very, very good. His character is really good. And sort of the premise initially is that when they talk about the Ghost Doctor is that when he was in his first year of residence, he performed a very, very complicated surgery that he should have had no idea how to do. And the rumor through the hospital is that he was possessed by the ghost of a surgeon who performed surgery through him.
Just can't stop working even after death.
Yeah.
Just like a surgeon. Just like a surgeon.
So, and then Kim Bum's character shows up and he is an absolute delight. I mean, if you want to talk sunshine and grump, this is your trope. It is just, he's a delight, an absolute delight with this grin on his face. He's a genius. He's very, very smart, but he's also very rich. His grandfather is the CEO of the hospital. His mother is one of the directors. His cousin is the VP, and he is being groomed to take over. So Grandpa said, you have to be a doctor. You're smart enough, go to med school. And he was like, I don't want to be a doctor. Be a doctor. So he went to med school. But when it came time to actually cut into cadavers and stuff, he was like, no, this is not for me. I will pay people to not to do this. But then decided that when he comes to do his residency at the hospital, he needs to do his residency under the best doctor in the hospital, and that would be Rain. Rain's character has no patience for this kid who is mouthy and rich and got in with, but the kid knows everything. He's every question you ask him, he knows the answer to, but do not ask him to pick up a scalpel because he will not know what to do with it. He doesn't even know how to hold it properly. So he gets banished down to the ER. And then
yes, that's exactly where you want to vanish someone with no practical
because
skills.
in the ER, because Rain doesn't want to see him anymore, right? So he sends him to the ER because at least in the ER his knowledge could be usable, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. You think internal medicine would be a better place to send him?
A little bit slower, where you don't have to actually use a scalpel really fast.
My guy should just go into family medicine.
Family medicine, yeah.
Don't
doctor's office.
Family medicine.
There are
so be the one to look at
ear, nose, throat guys.
Scans.
Yeah, because he does
radiology.
That. He looks at the scans and he goes, "Oh, this is this." He can do that. So do that job.
Don't you get a lot of money paying those people too?
Yeah.
I feel like they're one of the top ones. I don't know. You probably know this
radio.
guy.
Yeah, they are. They are.
It's a very highly specialized field that is hard to do.
But no, let's give him the ER.
No, we'll put him in the ER. That's where he is.
The thing about ER, I gotta say though, ER ICU nurses, when they go down to the ER, they're like, "Ooh, crap!" You don't send people to go into the ER.
Starter position.
Let's send them to the bloodiest and most hectic place.
Yeah, high pace,
that's where
things are going
this guy
crazy.
with no practical skills.
So in the ER, a student that he was classmates with is down there, played by Son Nayan from A-Pink. And she has in her character description, she is maybe a medium or can see ghosts or something. We haven't exactly seen that of her, and I'm like halfway through the drama, but you can tell that she knows something's up, because by the end of the first episode, they've focused on Rain's hands. He does this wrist thing, and he has this little thing he does before every surgery, and they've focused on this a lot, and you're like, this is going to come back later, I think. Sure enough, by the end of the first episode, Rain has been in a terrible car accident, and needs life-saving surgery. But so does this other patient, and all the surgeons are helping with this other patient. Nobody, or have been sent away from the hospital. This is a whole big conspiracy that unravels over the next episodes. There's a whole thing going on. So it's intentional. Like, there's nobody to perform this surgery, and Rain is like there as a coma ghost, screaming like, do this and do this, and he's like, and he like goes to like grab Kim Bum and inhabits his body, so performs surgery on himself.
A classic caper. Fucking love it.
It's very.
You know that saying that doctors can't perform surgery on themselves?
But you know, in history, doctors have, like, one of the dudes who went to the Arctic did his own appendectomy while awake.
Well, that's because,
because
there were like no other doctors around to help him, right? Like,
it was just him. He was alone. Yeah,
he kind of had to.
No, this is whack.
He wasn't just in a hospital.
I love how deranged this plot is.
It's so deranged. It's so crazy. It's very charming though as well. Like, I mean, Rain is a horrible character for the first maybe 4 episodes, but he starts to come around, and it's nice because you can see the redemption arc, and it's growing and it's changing, and you see why he's kind of a jerk. It's not as self-serving as it seems initially. So that's nice. And Kim Bum is a delight. The thing that gets me with it, I really am enjoying it. I love all the characters. It's quite delightful. He's got a whole group of other comos around the hospital that he's meeting and becoming friends with and stuff. It's really sweet that way. Very, very typical K-drama stuff. But like, the glaring thing is, why doesn't Rain just teach him how to be a doctor? Like, why?
This seems like a convoluted way to do it, sir.
Why doesn't he want to learn? Why, like, just start learning, start to figure it out. Like, I don't.
Toxic masculinity, the doctor version? Like, what's going on? So it's like,
I haven't got that far yet, but what I'm kind of getting is that maybe the reason why he walked into cadaver class and walked away was because he has trauma. He couldn't stand to be around a body and, you know, do stuff. And he's just rich and cute and fun, so he kind of got away with it.
He should just go be a lawyer instead. Isn't that the other rich person?
Right.
Like,
but his grandfather thinks that if he's a doctor, he'll be able to run the hospital better and get more respect from the other doctors in the hospital.
Then just go into family medicine. Anyway, I'm not stop nitpicking about this plot.
But if he's so good at like observing and stuff, why doesn't he just go around and observe?
Exactly.
And then knows everything about everything in the pot, like,
and then all over the place. Like,
he would
just
also know
tell everybody else what surgeries to do. And you know, this is the glaring issue. It's got that one, but other than this one pretty big but glaring issue, it's really very charming. It's very enjoyable. It's just very classic K-drama, you know, shenanigans, and it's amusing. So that is my only currently airing show that I'm actually maintaining some semblance of something with. I am watching a Japanese drama called My Fair Prince. It's a Noonas romance. It's cute. It's fine.
What was the title of that?
My Fair Prince, or Oshi no Ouija-sama. It would be better if it wasn't a Noonas romance. If it was like he was her long lost brother or something, it would make more sense. It would work better. It just doesn't quite, the chemistry isn't there. And the same age male second lead is Dean, what's his name? Fuji, I can't remember his last name right now.
But Fujiyaka.
Fujiyaka. And he's great. Gorgeous, and he has chemistry with a block of wood. So like, it's very impossible to believe that this woman would want this kid who has no, like, he's fine, but
no, like, nobody compares to Dean.
And the premise of it is a little odd because she creates video games. She helped create with Dean's character. They started their own business and created this Otome game that became wildly popular. And the main character is based on sort of her ideal type. And when she first meets this kid, he looks exactly like the character she created in her video game. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, but like that's not a healthy way to build a relationship. Like, he's a high school dropout and she runs a company. Like, you just are like, no, I don't see how,
you can't
why
fix him. You can't fix him, girl. Don't do it.
And I mean, you can, but
it's like, never worth it.
It kind of smacks of grooming because he's so young and she's so far in her life, and she's fixing him. She's teaching him how to be an adult, and that's not really a good basis for a relationship.
Are you his mother, or
right? So that's and then there's also
sound good to me. like
it's it's cute-ish, but like it doesn't have that thing that a Noonas romance needs in order to like get past that age gap.
Yeah, like the younger guy needs to be mature.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, why would an older woman like be interested in him?
I love Kimi Guapeto, but in that he is very mature for his age. He has goals, he has dreams, he's trying for things. He's in a bad circumstance in life, but it's not like he's not defeated and whatever. The other thing is that Dean is her same age second lead. The girl who is his same age second lead, who's in love with him, she's a huge fan of this video game. She became a fan of this video game because they were classmates in high school, and he basically ran away from home and disappeared. And she always wondered what happened to him and worried about him. And because he was a good kid and he was nice and he was her classmate, and she always had a crush on him. And so when she first saw this video game and saw that it looked so much like him, she would play the video game because she could pretend that she knew that he was okay. He was out there somewhere. This is so much a better pick for you. Like, she loves you, not just what you look like.
That's still sad though. Like,
it is. It's very, I started watching Lucky with You. It's a C drama from last year with Johnny Kwang. I don't know if I'm going to keep going. Everybody I know who watched it basically watched half the drama on fast forward. So that doesn't bode well. But it's when the two leads are together, it's great. They're just not together enough. And when they're not together, they're not in it. If they're on screen, they're together. It's like somebody pitched a 16-episode K-drama rom-com, and the network went, great, we love it. We'd like 50-episode Weekender. And the writer went, but it's 16. Where am I pulling these extra episodes out? So all those little minor side characters that are really just plot devices, they're never meant to be in more than 1 or 2 episodes, are characters now. And they have entire plot lines and stories. And like, why are you here? I don't care. You have nothing to do with anything. Go back to the background where you belong. So there's a lot to fast forward through that has nothing to do with the story. But on the face, Johnny is the son of his dad owns a business, and his dad is into shady dealings and, shenanigans. But his son is a pretty good kid who volunteers his time with a rescue agency. So like, you first meet him, he's like rappelling down a cliff to save people from a car accident. Like, he's a good kid. his dad thinks he's lazy because he won't take over the business. And you're like, that's not really lazy. That's not how that works, but okay. And the dad, like when we first meet the dad, it's because he's getting held at knife point by a former employee who he, not technically illegally, but basically ruined this guy's life, stole his life's work and ruined his life. And then the son starts getting, Johnny's character starts getting death threats. And at no point does the dad go, I'm a really shady businessman. Maybe people are threatening my son's life because of me. No, it's because his son is a ne'er-do-well and clearly gotten himself into something, but they have to hire him a bodyguard. And the bodyguard is a beautiful woman who's very, very good at her job. When the bodyguard and the kid are together, it is great. It's so delightful. When they're not on screen, it's really boring. So
I kind of wanted to pick that one up because if there's a female character doing like bodyguard or SWAT stuff, like I want to watch it.
It's weirdly frustrating though, because she's clearly very, very good at her job, but for some reason her boss doesn't like her and tells her she's not good at her job. And I don't know. So the reason why she's there at the hostage situation is because the only job her boss will give her is like essentially running errands. Like she's been hired to go pick up some legal documents and drop them off at another building, protect them kind of thing. And then she sees the guy take the other guy hostage and then she thwarts it all. There's some cute side characters, like her friend is okay. She's not great, but she's okay. And his best friend runs a restaurant and he's kind of cute and funny. He's played by the Chatterbox guy from King's Avatar, who I adore. So I kind of enjoy watching him. I don't know. And this is the thing. If it was 24 episodes, I'd be like, you know what? This is okay. I can push through. It's 40 episodes.
Too many episodes.
That's a lot. A lot of pushing through. I'm on episode 8 and I feel like I've fast forwarded probably 3 episodes worth so far. So I have a feeling it's going to fall to the wayside, but you never know. It could stick.
You never know.
It's Johnny and I love Johnny. So, and I just started this week. I started 46 Days. It's a Thai drama with Byfern. She's adorable in it. It's very cute. She's a mukbang artist who works for a company that provides very, very crappy food for her to eat. And she does a really good job selling this stuff, but a couple of times forgets to turn her camera off before she yaks up the food and loses her job. There's another influencer who's much more popular than her named Wisa, who hates her guts. They hate each other. Her best friend, Noina, finds out her boyfriend's cheating on her and then breaks up with him and then happens to bump into this doctor who she knew when she was in high school and had a crush on. And so now she's decided that she should be with this doctor. That's the universe put him in her path. Obviously, she should be with this guy she had a crush on in high school. Unfortunately, the main character, Ying Ying, bumped into this doctor shirtless in the first episode. So we know that he's obviously meant for her, not for her best friend.
Obviously, when you see him undressed.
That's a classic meet cute,
He's clearly got one of those Thai boy contracts, the shirtless contract, because about every other episode he is shirtless. That's not a bad thing. He looks well without clothes. It's funny. It's a little over the top, but it's over top in the right ways at the right times. So it's called 46 Days because they discover that the doctor is getting married in 46 days. And so Noina wants to break up this wedding so that she can have him because he's clearly meant for her. Ying Ying wants to break up the wedding because she's met the doctor a couple of times. He's a really nice dude. And who's he marrying? Evil Wisa. And she wants to destroy her. And she's like, nah, this guy is too good to be married to that horrible piece of human trash. So like, I will enjoy the next 46 days of my life very much. Thank you. And shenanigans. So it's very cute, very amusing. Jenny plays her sister in it, and she plays, Jenny is a trans actress who plays a trans character in this.
Oh,
so
cool.
yeah,
Jenny's awesome. Jenny's
and
she's
and they've done some really nice things. Like I said, when it's serious when it needs to be. So like Jenny is silly too, and they have this silly sisterhood thing going on. I don't know what it is, but it's just exactly the right drama. I picked it up this week and I'm like, this is exactly what I want to be watching right now. So it's very good. It's very cute. I don't know. It's just fun. I'm just enjoying it. So it's kind of long for a Thai drama. It's 18 episodes, but I'm glad I wasn't watching it one episode at a time, like, you know, because
like a chum.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's it. I think I've just decided that I can't right now. I need to just binge things. I need the episodes to be there when I want to watch them. And
yeah,
it's a whole different experience. Like
it is.
Like
it's so much
I'm
better.
Be honest, like while I am enjoying like Not Me, and I'm like real invested in it, I wish it was a binge.
Yeah,
you always do
like,
that thing where like you want to watch something, you're like, oh man, I have all this time right now to do it.
Yeah,
and then you can't because it's like airing, so you've like watched all of it, but like the next time you have a big chunk, you won't like have the
like,
things.
I was behind. I think I watched like the first 4 episodes of Ghost Doctor and then didn't watch it for a couple of weeks, and then it was like, oh perfect, like there's like 4 episodes, I'll just watch. But like the last episode wasn't subbed because,
then that's also another
Vicky,
thing where
so
Vicky will be like, hey, you wanted to watch that last episode before spoilers? Nope, we're gonna spend like a week trying to sub it. And
like, also they will sometimes in their
and they're going
media
to
spoil it themselves, and you're like, how
so
come
much.
you have this scene subbed and your paying customers don't?
Right. I have Vicky, like the main Vicky Twitter, blocked because I don't want to.
Every time they do it.
Oh no, they almost did it with Happiness, but it was like it threw me off because I started following them on TikTok, and at that time they hadn't been doing a lot on TikTok, and then all of a sudden they were like, bam, Happiness scenes, and I'm like, but you don't have this subbed yet. I hate you.
Well, clearly they do. Like that's all I have to say.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I have them blocked because
I should,
so that I won't see that stuff, and then I follow their like status update one just so that I can see that stuff.
It's just hard. Sometimes they actually say something like, hey, we've got like, we're getting this. Like I remember when Crime Puzzle, the first time that I saw it pop up was the Vicky TikTok announced that they were getting all of Crime Puzzle, and it was like the week before they were getting Crime Puzzle, and I was like, that's cool. And then a couple days later they finally did on all the other social media, and so I'm like, but what if they do that with other things?
Yeah,
I can't just block them.
No, I'll just have to just trust that I follow enough other people who will put something onto my timeline and help me out, because it got to be too annoying. It's too annoying to be like, hey, I can't watch this episode, but you've already spoiled it and you didn't provide subs yet. Like, that's crazy.
But your spoiler has subs, so clearly you have subs somewhere that you're just not releasing to us, the people who pay for your service.
Oh well, Coco is my actual friend. We're mutuals on Twitter, so
I did want to bring up something funny about me trying to find the old drama You're Beautiful. So it's on Viki Plus. So then I was like, okay, since I have a Cocoa account, I went over to Cocoa. Thing is, Cocoa, evidently the Cocoa search bar is finicky as
heck.
It is.
Oh, it is.
It is. That's like,
because I wrote it without an apostrophe and with one.
You fool.
Yeah, you have to be
no matter how you write You're Beautiful, you cannot make it come up, but you just have to put in the word beautiful and then it shows up with other dramas. I'm like, fine, that's just the way I have to go about it.
That
But
is
one
their
thing I did want-
downfall. I'm sorry. I'll
Yeah.
talk to them. I'll DM them.
But I mean, I like Coke. I really do like Cocoa subs and stuff. But it was like, man. But then also, I wanted to say, like, I'm way into the binging stuff too. But I also know there's going to be new dramas coming out soon that I'm going to really want to watch.
Mhm.
That's hard.
Mhm.
You always get caught up. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go back to airing because I want to be around when people are talking about it and not get spoiled or like be just a part of it. And then you're like, I hate this. Why did I do this to myself?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Exactly.
So we will see what the coming months brings for us.
Yeah. Next month, tune in to see if we're still all
Yeah.
binging or if we're
Oh, you
watching
picked up like
currently
8
airing.
new-
Watch
we
this, I'll
won't
be like,
because the Olympics is helping a little bit. I'll
that's
definitely be watching the
true.
Olympics. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And on that note, this has been another episode of What We're Watching with the Certified Noonas. We hope you enjoyed listening. If you want to have links to everything we talked about and time codes, you got to go to our website, certifiednoonas.com, our home on the web, where every single episode has links and everything. But you can listen to us on pretty much everywhere podcasts can be found. We are everywhere. We are omnipotent in the podcast streaming
creepy.
situation.
we're always just peeking around the corner.
We're always there, just waiting. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can go to Patreon. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/certified Noonas to become a member of the Certified Found Family. We love our Found Family. They really support us and have for a really long time, and we think they are chef's kiss. They're the best. And we thank every single one of them. If you want to find us on social media, it's always at Certified Noonas, one word. We're on pretty much all of them, but mostly Twitter and Instagram are the places you can find us. Anyway, we hope you have a great week. You wash your hands, wear masks, keep safe, and as always, keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.